If you're watching this video as it releases, it's The Last of Us Day. 26th of September 2013 is the day that the cordyceps brain infection outbreak happened in The Last of Us, and so Naughty Dog has used this day to celebrate the franchise and its fandom. This 9th Last of Us Day comes just 24 days after the release of the Part 1 remake, and with the upcoming HBO adaptation on the horizon. If the day is marked by a trailer for the show, or any other big franchise news, then I'll cover that in a separate video on the channel. In this video, I want to look back at the story of The Last of Us Part 1, and in particular, an aspect of the narrative that has previously been the source of controversy among fans. In a world painted in shades of grey, populated by morally dubious characters perpetrating successive questionable acts, David is perhaps the only unambiguous bad guy in The Last of Us. He's also, in his interactions with and relationship to Ellie, the dark mirror of Joel Miller. Before we go deeper, it's worth clarifying that I'm not saying Joel and David are morally equivalent. That's not the case, and if it was, then not just the winter chapter, but the whole game would take on a very different dimension. Rather, David here represents an inversion of Joel and his relationship with Ellie. In that role, David is not only an effectively terrifying antagonist, but also one who puts in stark relief how positive Ellie's connection to Joel truly is. David himself would probably favour a superficial similarity between them. We see this when he equates his community's cannibalism with Joel and Ellie killing to survive. Because the act is the same, the morality is the same, context be damned. On that surface level, David is like Joel, a survivor who becomes protective of Ellie after a hostile first interaction, and does what he sees as necessary to protect her. However, just as hunting and killing people for food is not equivalent to killing people to stop them killing you, so below the surface we see that Joel and David are not the same. In fact, in relation to Ellie, it's their opposites that define them, and why we root for Joel whilst David sends a shiver of revulsion up our spines. Joel's first hostile interaction with Ellie is rooted in Joel rejecting attachment, hollowed out in the 2 decades since Sarah's death. Despite this, even as soon as the Capitol building comes into sight, we see his worry for her and what lies ahead, pulled into check only by Tessa's hard-headedness. David, by comparison, is actively seeking out Ellie when he comes across her. His group seeks retribution for the deaths of their men at the university, and he sees it as an opportunity to recruit her, to groom her. Where Joel tries to keep his distance and is forced to do otherwise by growing affection, David actively pushes against the walls Ellie has put up. Joel hides his past to avoid connection, but David seeks to actively deceive her with a version of the truth he can rationalise, one which, as we've seen, superficially puts them on the same moral footing. David's affection for Ellie is rooted in moving her to where he is. Throughout this chapter, he remains fundamentally unchanged, and turns on Ellie when she won't change to fit his view of what she should be. Like so many dangerous men whose advances are spurned, the truth of him emerges to threaten her life. Joel's affection for Ellie is defined by her rather than him, rooted in wanting to protect her from the harm the world can do her. Even in this, it's he who moves and grows because of her, rather than demanding she meet his expectations. We see this in his attitude to giving her a gun, which he initially resists because as bad as the things he's done are, he doesn't want her dragged into those actions. He relents not just of necessity, but also recognising both her capabilities and her need to be of use.
You're welcome.
Joel and David's opposites ultimately speak of fatherhood at its best and its worst. David's intentions towards Ellie are predatory and, it's heavily implied, sexual. This doesn't negate the point, but rather underlines it. He's the father who views family as something subservient to his needs, who must above all dominate, control, lead. The abusive and toxic view of what a father and a man must be. Joel stands in contrast as all that fatherhood should be. From the start with Sarah, all he does is in service of his daughter and later his surrogate daughter's needs, even when it means crawling through the darkness. Pre-apocalypse, this involves working whatever jobs he has to in order to provide, and post-apocalypse, it means violence, metaphorically tearing the world apart in defense of Ellie above all else. Stripped of that purpose with Sarah's death, Joel is rendered empty. He survives, but without purpose until Ellie provides him one. Be the positive, protective force that David only pretends to be as a means to an end. Joel's dark mirror shows us not only what Joel could be in very different circumstances, but more importantly, what he isn't.
I gotta find her. I gotta find her.
Which is why it weighs so heavily in the story that it is in the aftermath of David's evil that Joel truly becomes a father to Ellie. What do you think about Joel and David's characters and how they relate to one another? Do you agree with my take, or do you have a different analysis? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a like and consider subscribing to keep up to date with all my content. Like the video that just popped up, which YouTube thinks you should watch next. Check out the links in the description to join my Patreon for as little as £1 per month, or donate to my GoFundMe and get your name in the credits of my videos, like those rolling up now, who I want to thank for supporting me and my content. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.